In this lesson, we've discussed 15 common reasons why people may be unhappy, ranging from financial stress and social media addiction to holding grudges and resisting change. From prioritizing self-care and setting realistic goals to embracing new experiences and opportunities, we've covered a range of strategies for finding greater happiness and fulfillment. Whether that means setting new goals, prioritizing self-care, or embracing new experiences, remember that the power to create positive change lies within you. Number 1. You think money will make you happy. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that having more money will lead to greater happiness. We see images of wealthy people living luxurious lives, and we assume that if only we had more money, we too would be happy and content. But the truth is that money alone cannot provide long-lasting happiness. In fact, studies have shown that once our basic needs are met, such as food, shelter, and healthcare, additional money does not necessarily lead to more happiness. There are several reasons why this is the case. For one, money can often bring with it its own set of problems and stresses. Wealthy people may be worried about losing their money or attracting people who are only interested in them for their financial status. Additionally, the pursuit of money can often lead to a lack of fulfillment and purpose. If we're only focused on accumulating wealth, we may neglect other areas of our lives that bring us joy and meaning. Of course, this isn't to say that money isn't important or that having financial stability isn't beneficial. It can provide a sense of security and comfort, and it can allow us to pursue our passions and live the life we want. However, it's important to recognize that money is not the end-all, be-all when it comes to happiness. Instead, we should focus on cultivating gratitude for what we have, building strong relationships, and pursuing activities and goals that align with our values and bring us joy. To illustrate this point, consider the example of two people, one who has a lot of money but is lonely and unfulfilled, and another who has modest means but is surrounded by loving friends and family and pursues activities that bring them joy. Which person do you think is happier in the long run? While it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that money will solve all our problems, it's important to recognize that true and lasting happiness comes from within and cannot be bought with any amount of money. 2. You think you deserve to be happy. It's natural to want to be happy and fulfilled in life. However, many of us fall into the trap of thinking that we are entitled to happiness, and that it should be easy and effortless to attain. The truth is that happiness is not a guaranteed right or entitlement. It's something that we must actively work towards and cultivate in our lives. And sometimes, that means facing difficult challenges or overcoming obstacles that may initially make us unhappy. When we believe that we deserve to be happy, we set ourselves up for disappointment and frustration. We may become resentful of others who seem to be happier than us, or we may feel like something is wrong with us if we're not constantly feeling happy and fulfilled. Instead, it's important to recognize that happiness is something that we must actively pursue and work towards. This means taking responsibility for our own emotions and actively seeking out experiences and activities that bring us joy and fulfillment. For example, let's say you're feeling unhappy in your job. Rather than sitting around and waiting for happiness to come to you, take action to find a new job that aligns more closely with your values and passions. Or, if you're feeling unfulfilled in your relationships, take the initiative to communicate your needs and work on building stronger connections with those around you. The key takeaway here is that happiness is not a given or entitlement. It's something that we must actively work towards and cultivate in our lives. And when we do so, we may find that happiness comes more easily and effortlessly than we ever thought possible. So, the next time you find yourself feeling unhappy or unfulfilled, remember that you have the power to take action and create the life you want. Happiness is not something that is given to us, it's something that we must actively pursue and work towards in our lives. Happiness is not a guaranteed right or entitlement. It's something that we must actively work towards and cultivate in our lives. 3. You think other people should make you happy. It's common to seek happiness in our relationships with others. We may believe that if only our partner, friends, or family members would behave a certain way or treat us differently, we would be happier and more fulfilled. However, relying on others to make us happy is a surefire recipe for disappointment and frustration. We cannot control the actions or behaviors of others, and placing our happiness solely in their hands sets us up for disappointment. Instead, it's important to take responsibility for our own happiness and cultivate a sense of inner fulfillment and contentment. This means finding joy and meaning in our own lives, rather than relying on others to provide it for us. Of course, this isn't to say that relationships aren't important or that we shouldn't seek support and love from others. Healthy relationships can provide a great deal of fulfillment and happiness in our lives. However, it's important to recognize that our happiness ultimately comes from within, and that we cannot rely on others to provide it for us. To illustrate this point, consider the example of two people, one who relies heavily on their partner for happiness and fulfillment, and another who takes responsibility for their own happiness and finds joy in their own hobbies and interests. Which person do you think is more likely to experience long-term happiness and fulfillment? While it's natural to seek happiness in our relationships with others, it's important to take responsibility for our own happiness and cultivate the sense of inner fulfillment and contentment. We cannot control the actions or behaviors of others, and relying on them to make us happy is a recipe for disappointment and frustration. So, the next time you find yourself relying on others to make you happy, take a step back and focus on cultivating joy and fulfillment in your own life. 4. You think life is as a movie. Many of us have grown up watching movies and television shows that depict life in a certain way. We may believe that our lives should be filled with constant excitement, drama, and romance, and that anything less than that is a disappointment. However, this view of life is unrealistic and sets us up for disappointment and frustration. Real life is often messy, mundane, and ordinary, and that's okay. It's important to recognize that our lives are not meant to be like a movie or a TV show, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. When we believe that life should be like a movie, we may overlook the small moments of joy and beauty that exist in our everyday lives. We may become disillusioned with our own lives, feeling like we're not living up to the idealized version of life that we see in the media. Instead, it's important to embrace the imperfections and complexities of our own lives, and find joy and meaning in the everyday moments that make up our existence. This means taking pleasure in simple things like a cup of coffee in the morning, a walk in nature, or a conversation with a loved one. To illustrate this point, consider the example of two people, one who constantly seeks out excitement and drama in their life, and another who finds joy and contentment in the small moments of everyday life. Which person do you think is more likely to experience long-term happiness and fulfillment? It's natural to be influenced by the media and entertainment industry. It's important to recognize that life is not meant to be like a movie or a TV show. Our lives are often messy and ordinary, and that's okay. By embracing the imperfections and complexities of our own lives, we can find joy and meaning in the everyday moments that make up our existence. Life is not meant to be like a movie or a TV show. By embracing the imperfections and complexities of our own lives, we can find joy and meaning in the everyday moments that make up our existence. Number 5. You watch too much TV. While television can be a great source of entertainment and relaxation, watching too much TV can be detrimental to our mental and emotional well-being. It's easy to get caught up in binge-watching our favorite shows, but doing so can lead to feelings of emptiness, loneliness, and disconnection from our own lives. When we spend too much time watching TV, we may neglect other areas of our lives that bring us joy and fulfillment. We may spend less time with loved ones, engage in fewer hobbies and interests, and feel less connected to our own sense of purpose and meaning. Additionally, the media we consume can have a profound impact on our mood and worldview. If we're constantly watching shows that depict violence, conflict, and negativity, we may begin to view the world in a similarly negative light, leading to feelings of hopelessness and despair. To combat the negative effects of excessive TV watching, it's important to set limits on our screen time and engage in other activities that bring us joy and fulfillment. This could include spending time outdoors, pursuing hobbies and interests, spending time with loved ones, or engaging in mindfulness and meditation practices. To illustrate this point, consider the example of two people, one who spends hours each day watching TV, and another who sets limits on their screen time and engages in other activities that bring them joy and fulfillment. Which person do you think is more likely to experience long-term happiness and fulfillment? While television can be a great source of entertainment and relaxation, watching too much TV can be detrimental to our mental and emotional well-being. By setting limits on our screen time and engaging in other activities that bring us joy and fulfillment, we can find greater happiness and contentment in our lives. 6. You spend too much time on social media. Social media has become a ubiquitous part of modern life, with billions of people using platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to connect with others and share information. While social media can be a valuable tool for staying connected and informed, spending too much time on these platforms can be detrimental to our mental and emotional well-being. When we spend too much time on social media, we may become addicted to the constant feedback and validation that comes from likes, comments, and shares. We may also fall into the trap of comparing our own lives to the carefully curated and often idealized versions of life that we see on social media. Additionally, social media can be a major source of stress and anxiety, as we're constantly bombarded with news and information that can be overwhelming and upsetting. This can lead to feelings of hopelessness, despair, and disconnection from our own lives. To combat the negative effects of excessive social media use, it's important to set limits on our screen time and engage in activities that bring us joy and fulfillment. During the next time you find yourself mindlessly scrolling through social media, take a step back and consider other ways you could be spending your time. Remember that true and lasting happiness comes from within, and that engaging in activities that bring us joy and fulfillment is key to living a happy and fulfilling life. Spending too much time on social media can be detrimental to our mental and emotional well-being. By setting limits on our screen time and engaging in other activities that bring us joy and fulfillment, we can find greater happiness and contentment in our lives. 7. You have bad relationships with family and love life. Our relationships with others play a crucial role in our happiness and well-being. When we have strong, positive relationships with family and loved ones, we feel supported, valued, and fulfilled. However, when these relationships are strained or negative, we may feel isolated, lonely, and unhappy. Having a bad relationship with family members can be particularly difficult, as these relationships often go back many years and are rooted in deep-seated emotions and histories. Similarly, struggling in our love lives can lead to feelings of despair and hopelessness, as we may feel like we'll never find the love and connection we desire. To improve our relationships with family and loved ones, it's important to take responsibility for our own behavior and communication styles. This means being honest and vulnerable with those we care about, setting healthy boundaries, and actively working to repair any damage that has been done to the relationship. The next time you find yourself struggling in your relationships with family or loved ones, take a step back and focus on improving communication, setting healthy boundaries, and working to repair any damage that has been done to the relationship. Remember that true and lasting happiness comes from building strong and positive connections with others. Our relationships with family and loved ones play a crucial role in our happiness and well-being. By taking responsibility for our own behavior and communication styles, setting healthy boundaries, and actively working to repair any damage that has been done to the relationship, we can improve our relationships and find greater happiness and fulfillment in our lives. 8. You surround yourself with unhappy people. Our social circles have a profound impact on our well-being and happiness. When we surround ourselves with positive, supportive, and happy people, we are more likely to feel fulfilled, motivated, and content. However, when we surround ourselves with negative, unsupportive, and unhappy people, we may feel drained, discouraged, and unhappy. When we surround ourselves with unhappy people, we may absorb their negative energy and attitudes, and may be more likely to adopt their negative outlook on life. Additionally, unhappy people may be less likely to support us in our goals and dreams, and may even actively discourage us from pursuing them. To improve our happiness and well-being, it's important to surround ourselves with positive and supportive people who encourage us to be our best selves. This means seeking out friends and social circles who share our values and goals, and who uplift us and inspire us to be our best selves. Our social circles have a profound impact on our well-being and happiness. By surrounding ourselves with positive, supportive, and happy people, we can improve our happiness and well-being, and be more likely to achieve our goals and dreams. Take a step back and consider seeking out new friends and social circles who share your values and goals. 9. You are scared to chase your dreams and try new things. As humans, we all have dreams and desires that we long to fulfill. Whether it's pursuing a new career path, traveling the world, or starting a family, our dreams are what give our lives meaning and purpose. However, the fear of failure, rejection, or the unknown can often hold us back from pursuing our dreams and trying new things. When we're scared to chase our dreams and try new things, we may feel stuck in a rut, bored, and unfulfilled. We may also experience feelings of regret and disappointment, wondering what could have been if we had only taken the leap and pursued our dreams. To overcome the fear of chasing our dreams and trying new things, it's important to embrace a growth mindset and to take small steps towards our goals. This means setting realistic goals, breaking them down into manageable tasks, and celebrating small wins along the way. It's also important to recognize that failure is a natural part of the learning process, and that setbacks and obstacles are opportunities for growth and learning. By reframing our mindset around failure and rejection, we can overcome our fear and embrace new experiences and opportunities. Take a step back and consider what dreams and desires you may be holding back on pursuing. Remember that true and lasting happiness comes from pursuing our dreams and embracing new experiences and opportunities. The fear of chasing our dreams and trying new things can hold us back from experiencing the fullness of life. By embracing a growth mindset, setting realistic goals, and taking small steps towards our dreams, we can overcome our fear and find greater happiness and fulfillment in our lives. Number 10. You hate your job. Many of us spend the majority of our waking hours at work, which means that our jobs can have a profound impact on our overall happiness and well-being. When we hate our jobs, we may feel unfulfilled, unmotivated, and unhappy, and this negative energy can spill over into other areas of our lives. Hating our jobs can also lead to feelings of hopelessness and despair, as we may feel trapped and unable to make a change. This can be especially difficult if we feel that our job is the only way to support ourselves financially. To improve our happiness and well-being in the workplace, it's important to take a proactive approach and to actively seek out ways to improve our work situation. This could include talking to our supervisor about new responsibilities or opportunities, seeking out additional training or education, or even considering a career change. It's also important to find ways to cultivate joy and fulfillment outside of work, whether through hobbies, social connections, or other meaningful pursuits. By finding balance and fulfillment in other areas of our lives, we can reduce the negative impact that a job we hate can have on our overall happiness and well-being. Hating our job can have a profound impact on our overall happiness and well-being. By taking a proactive approach to improve our work situation and finding balance and fulfillment outside of work, we can reduce the negative impact of a job we hate and find greater happiness and fulfillment in our lives. Take a step back and consider what changes you could make to improve your work situation, and how you can cultivate joy and fulfillment outside of work. Remember that true and lasting happiness comes from finding balance and fulfillment in all areas of our lives. Hating our job can have a profound impact on our overall happiness and well-being. By taking a proactive approach to improve our work situation and finding balance and fulfillment outside of work, we can reduce the negative impact of a job we hate and find greater happiness and fulfillment in our lives. 11. You compare yourself to others and feel inferior. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded with images and messages that tell us how we should look, act, and feel. Social media, in particular, can be a breeding ground for comparison and feelings of inadequacy, as we see the highlight reels of other people's lives and may feel like we don't measure up. When we compare ourselves to others and feel inferior, we may experience feelings of low self-esteem, self-doubt, and unhappiness. We may also be less likely to pursue our own goals and dreams, feeling like we'll never measure up to the successes of others. To overcome the negative impact of comparison, it's important to cultivate a sense of self-worth and focus on our own goals and desires. This means setting realistic goals that align with our own values and passions, and working towards these goals with intention and purpose. It's also important to recognize that comparison is a natural part of the human experience, and that everyone struggles with feelings of inadequacy from time to time. By reframing our mindset and focusing on our own journey rather than comparing ourselves to others, we can find greater happiness and fulfillment in our lives. Comparing ourselves to others and feeling inferior can have a negative impact on our overall happiness and well-being. By cultivating a sense of self-worth, setting realistic goals, and focusing on our own journey rather than comparing ourselves to others, we can find greater happiness and fulfillment in our lives. 12. You hold grudges and cannot forgive easily. When we hold grudges and are unable to forgive easily, we may carry negative emotions and resentment towards others, which can impact our overall happiness and well-being. Holding on to anger and resentment can be emotionally draining, and can also lead to negative health consequences, such as increased stress and anxiety. Additionally, being unable to forgive others can also impact our relationships, making it difficult to maintain positive and meaningful connections with others. To overcome the negative impact of holding grudges and being unable to forgive easily, it's important to cultivate forgiveness and compassion towards others. This means letting go of anger and resentment, and focusing on the positive aspects of our relationships and interactions with others. It's also important to recognize that forgiveness is a process, and that it may take time and effort to fully let go of negative emotions and resentment. By taking small steps towards forgiveness and focusing on the positive aspects of our relationships, we can improve our overall happiness and well-being. Holding grudges and being unable to forgive easily can have a negative impact on our overall happiness and well-being. By cultivating forgiveness and compassion towards others, we can let go of negative emotions and resentment, and improve our relationships and overall well-being. The next time you find yourself holding on to anger and resentment towards others, take a step back and focus on cultivating forgiveness and compassion. Remember that true and lasting happiness comes from cultivating positive and meaningful relationships with others. Holding grudges and being unable to forgive easily can have a negative impact on our overall happiness and well-being. By cultivating forgiveness and compassion towards others, we can let go of negative emotions and resentment, and improve our relationships and overall well-being. 13. You neglect your physical and mental health. Our physical and mental health are essential components of our overall well-being and happiness. Neglecting these aspects of our lives can lead to a range of negative consequences, including decreased energy, mood swings, and even physical illness. When we neglect our physical health, we may experience feelings of fatigue, low energy, and decreased productivity. We may also be more susceptible to illness and disease, which can impact our ability to enjoy life and pursue our goals and dreams. Similarly, neglecting our mental health can lead to feelings of stress, anxiety, and depression, which can impact our relationships, work, and overall well-being. To improve our happiness and well-being, it's important to prioritize our physical and mental health, and to make small, sustainable changes to our lifestyle. This could include exercising regularly, eating a healthy diet, getting enough sleep, and practicing mindfulness or meditation. It's also important to seek out support when needed, whether through therapy, support groups, or other mental health resources. By taking care of ourselves physically and mentally, we can improve our overall happiness and well-being, and be better equipped to handle the ups and downs of life. Neglecting our physical and mental health can have a negative impact on our overall happiness and well-being. By prioritizing self-care and making sustainable changes to our lifestyle, we can improve our physical and mental health, and be better equipped to handle the challenges of life. Prioritize self-care. Remember that true and lasting happiness comes from taking care of ourselves physically and mentally, and cultivating a sense of well-being and balance in all areas of our lives. Neglecting our physical and mental health can have a negative impact on our overall happiness and well-being. By prioritizing self-care and making sustainable changes to our lifestyle, we can improve our physical and mental health, and be better equipped to handle the challenges of life. 14. You lack meaning and purpose in life. As humans, we crave a sense of meaning and purpose in our lives. When we lack this sense of purpose, we may feel directionless, unfulfilled, and unhappy. We may also struggle to find motivation and passion in our daily lives, and may feel like we're simply going through the motions. To overcome the negative impact of lacking meaning and purpose in life, it's important to take a step back and reflect on our values, passions, and goals. This means asking ourselves questions like, what brings me joy and fulfillment, and what legacy do I want to leave behind? It's also important to take action towards these goals and passions, whether that means pursuing a new career path, volunteering for a cause we're passionate about, or simply spending more time on activities that bring us joy and fulfillment. By cultivating a sense of meaning and purpose in our lives, we can find greater happiness and fulfillment, and be better equipped to handle the ups and downs of life. In conclusion, lacking meaning and purpose in life can have a negative impact on our overall happiness and well-being. By reflecting on our values, passions, and goals, and taking action towards these areas, we can cultivate a sense of meaning and purpose in our lives, and find greater happiness and fulfillment. Number 15. You resist change and get stuck in your comfort zone. Change is an inevitable part of life, and embracing change is essential for personal growth and development. When we resist change and get stuck in our comfort zones, we may feel stagnant, unfulfilled, and unhappy. Additionally, resisting change can also impact our relationships and professional opportunities, as we may be less likely to take risks or try new things. To overcome the negative impact of resisting change, it's important to cultivate a growth mindset and embrace new experiences and opportunities. This means taking small steps outside of our comfort zone, whether that means trying a new hobby, taking on a new project at work, or even traveling to a new place. It's also important to recognize that failure is a natural part of the learning process, and that setbacks and challenges are opportunities for growth and development. By reframing our mindset and seeing change and challenges as opportunities for growth, we can find greater happiness and fulfillment in all areas of our lives. Resisting change and getting stuck in our comfort zone can have a negative impact on our overall happiness and well-being. By cultivating a growth mindset and embracing new experiences and opportunities, we can find greater happiness and fulfillment in all areas of our lives. The next time you find yourself resisting change or getting stuck in your comfort zone, take a step back and embrace new experiences and opportunities for growth. Remember that true and lasting happiness comes from pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zones and embracing the challenges of life. Until the end. We have number 16 as a bonus. You live in the past and don't look to the future. When we live in the past, we may feel stuck or trapped in negative emotions and memories, and may struggle to move forward in our lives. This can lead to feelings of anxiety, depression, and unhappiness, as we may be unable to see the possibilities and opportunities that lie ahead. To overcome the negative impact of living in the past, it's important to focus on the present moment and to look towards the future with hope and optimism. This means acknowledging the past and the lessons we've learned, but also recognizing that the future holds endless possibilities for growth and development. It's also important to cultivate a sense of gratitude and appreciation for the present moment, and to focus on the things that bring us joy and fulfillment in the here and now. By embracing the present moment and looking towards the future with hope and optimism, we can break free from the negative emotions and memories of the past, and find greater happiness and fulfillment in our lives. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to exploring more keys to happiness and fulfillment with you here at Life Theory. And don't forget to tip us with a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode.